is what we're doing. We have to change the legislation, and we're delighted to know that we're ready when the legislation is changed with 2 therapeutic centers for our children. One is non-residential, the other is residential, so they can come in and what is happening in their lives and to see how best we can help them to be rehabilitated. So that's what's going on. Did I hear an applause over there? Yes? Right. So the transformation report also calls on us to invest more in the early childhood sector to set the foundation for our children. For us, when we look at the early childhood sector, as you know, a large part of it consists of private businesses, meaning Auntie Mary down the road decided to create a basic school, taking a few children, and so that is how that basic school got started. But we want to raise the level, want to raise the standards in the early childhood sector, and that's why you might have heard of the 12 standards that these schools have to reach. We have been successful part way, but we need to accelerate that. And one of the major missings in our basic school is trained practitioners who are trained to manage children in that age group. And so that is something we have to look at to see how best we can bring more trained practitioners into the early childhood sector. Additionally, we took it on, the early childhood sector took it on and completed the first assessment of all the 4-year-old children in Jamaica. Yes, you can applaud for that. Yes, it's not an exam they got, it was an assessment to see where they are in terms of their early literacy. We know that children at that age, you know, they are more to be doing play and so forth. It's not a heavy curriculum for them, but you can still assess them in terms of what are they picking up when they look at a book, you know, are they identifying things and so forth. And we found out that 2/3 of the children in the early childhood sector are doing fine. They will progress through the early childhood sector to primary school, and with the help and support of teachers, they will be successful. But I have to tell you that there's 1/3 of the early childhood sector that even at age 4, the assessment is throwing up some issues. Issues with behavior, issues that we'd have to work with the parents on, early learning issues, right? So while we do not want any of our children to be in that category, but the good news is we have the tools to help us identify them and begin to take the action, right? The intervention, the support that they need. Because if those children progress through the early childhood sector and into primary school without any help, you know what you are going to be seeing in the primary schools. And so I want to commend the early childhood sector for taking this on and doing this comprehensive assessment, which will be done every year. Our goal is to do it every year so that it's a continual support and intervention that would be provided for the next crop of 4-year-olds, the next crop of 4-year-olds. And in time, we will begin to see significantly better results. The next pillar speaks to curriculum, teaching, and teacher training. The transformation report calls on us to embrace the UNESCO declaration that children do not only have the right to be in school, but also to learn while there and to emerge with the skills they need to find secure, well-paid work. This could not be more explicit. A lot of times we separate education from work. We separate education for what life is going to be like when our children graduate from school. But the purpose of education is also to ensure that they can find useful and meaningful work, that they can become entrepreneurs, that they can be the next scientist, computer specialist, and so forth. And that is the strong connection that we always have to make between education and adult life. So I hope you embrace that as well. I don't know if you saw it recently, but the Minister of Finance and the Public Service recently announced scholarships for Michael Teaching College, Michael University College, 1,250 STEM scholarships, 250 per year, to encourage those coming into the profession to specialize in the STEM subjects. And what I was very happy about is to see the move towards integrated STEM approach, in which there is recognition that magic in learning can happen when students, in this case our teachers, our new teachers, see the connection and the interrelations among the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and of course, the arts. He also recently made an announcement about another 1,000 STEM scholarships over 5 years as well for UTech. And this is very consistent with the transformation report. The transformation report calls on us to look at the tertiary sector as well in terms of the governance of tertiary, to ensure that what our students are learning is aligned with the needs of the nation, so we're not overproducing in one area while the nation is in need in the other area. Just this morning, at the post-cabinet press briefing, NWA, National Works Agency, was there as well, talking about the construction that's happening on the roadway between, in the St. Thomas, Portland region. And one of the things they said that really caught my attention, the need for trained workers. That road project is a significant project, a very large project. We've never done anything like that in that part of the country. And they are having a hard time kind of finding the skill set that they need to do that work. The report speaks to TVET in Jamaica as well. And I know that we've grown up with HEART being the entity that provides training. But in your high schools as well, you do TVET. Recently, I said that we'd love to do it in our primary schools, obviously age appropriate. And some persons took me on, but I reminded them that back in 2016, there was a launch of TVET in primary schools with many principals there talking and welcoming that move. The final 2 pillars of the 7 pillars of transformation. The first of the final 2 would be infrastructure and technology. And the report calls on us to invest significantly in the infrastructure of our schools, to upgrade the infrastructure, to ensure that we have cooling, air condition in our classrooms and in our administrative offices, to ensure that our teachers have proper quarters, proper staff rooms. Yes, to ensure that we begin to upgrade the look and feel of our schools. I mean, you walk into classrooms and the floors are rough. You know, there's burglar bars all around and so forth. There's a lot of work to do in improving the physical infrastructure of our schools. We've started it, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be over many years. But we've started. One, I believe that many persons will now say that the Ministry of Education and Youth is even a little bit more responsive about your maintenance needs. Would you give us that? All right, wonderful. We meet every week with the building team. They have to update us. We have a long list of schools, needs, and we help them to push through in terms of the procurement, any issues that they're coming up against. We ask them to highlight it rather than sit on it and wait. And to the extent we can do in terms of, let's say they need a permit from the local authorities and so forth, we help them. But we want we want them to be extremely responsive to our schools. In fact, we need to get to that point where the schools shouldn't even have to be calling us, because we should know what is wrong with the school building. Not true? And we should just show up and start doing the work. That is where we need to get to. And we have the database. A massive study was done of all the school infrastructure across Jamaica. So we know which one is in good condition, which one is in okay condition, and which ones are in the unsatisfactory column. So that is one of the directions in which we're pushing. We're also really serious this time around about de-shifting our schools. We still have schools from how many years ago when they did the shift in the 70s, that are still here. Just recently we broke ground on Bridgeport, in another region, Bridgeport High School. So by September of next year, they will be off shift. We're going to celebrate with Black River High School in September this school year. I know, and there have been others. We've de-shifted about 6 schools, since 2016, and we will continue to do so. But we also will be adding a new type of school to the sector, and we call them STEM schools. Not because we don't already teach STEM subjects. We do. We teach technology, we teach engineering, we teach mathematics. But the way we've been doing it over the decades has been by discrete subjects. What STEM schools will do is to help to integrate those subject areas so that our students begin to understand. When you bring those areas together, what it can produce. But we're not going to leave other schools behind. We're going to ensure that your classrooms become STEM classrooms as well. It's going to require more money, more spending, because a STEM classroom calls for resources, right? If you're doing chemistry, you need a proper lab. You know what I'm talking about, right? So we are committed to moving the education sector forward. I know you, over the decades, you probably just have given up on the administration of education. But we're here to put new urgency into education administration and the speed with which we respond to issues, but more importantly, how well do we anticipate what is happening in the system. On the technology front, are they out of the boxes and in the labs? Okay, good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. So across all of our secondary schools, we have given them at least the number of laptops to replace, the clunkers that they used to have in the labs. That's a big spend, a big commitment, but we have to ensure that our schools have up-to-date access to devices. So I hear voices, I hear talking. Is there a question? Is there a question? No. All right, go ahead. On this topic, technology? On the technology topic? No, let me just wrap up. I thought when I talked about technology, I was hearing. As well, we're still in the process of completing the distribution of laptops for teachers. We've completed teachers in the primary school. We've started in the high schools. We're about 50% of the way there. So principals, we want you to ensure that your teachers have access to laptops. And I know many of our principals would have been recipients of broadband access at their schools. We have been connecting schools to ensure that they have adequate internet connectivity. The work is not completed yet. Some of you may have the connection, but you don't have the service just yet. Right? Other schools have the connection, they have the service, it's fast and it's okay, but there are some schools, like I said, they have the connection, they may have the service, but it's not as fast as they want. There are other schools with the connection, no service, and there are still other schools that haven't received anything yet. I'm letting you know that the work continues, but that the vision is to have every school in Jamaica connected for children to come to school. Yes, we understand that there may be fees for different services that are provided, payment for goods, whether it be lapels, ties, and so on. But in terms of telling a parent that they must pay a fee or else their child will not come to school, that is against government policies. But I'm sure when we get to that point, you will hear. So, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot do or could not do what we do without you. You are on the ground. You are in the classrooms. You are the school leaders. You are the administrators in your different schools. You set the tone. We cannot do that from central ministry. We have to depend on you, your commitment, your vigilance. We have to depend on our boards. Could I see a raised hands for all our board chairs who are here with us today? Yes. Thank you so much for your service. We know it's a labor of love, and the issues that you have to deal with sometimes, wow, it's taxing. But we could not run our schools without you and the governance that you provide. And so I want to thank you publicly for serving in our schools. To our principals, our teachers, vice principals, administrators, I'm here to encourage you along. I know that not everything is perfect, but while we're moving towards perfection, we still need your commitment and your diligence. Let me say just a big, big thank you to all our teachers, especially the PEP teachers. Yes, you can clap louder. We did well this year. I went to several graduations, and I know you did too, and it was happiness all around. Happiness all around. I wanted to share with you just the results, the overall PEP results. How could I not have them? They're in my other phone. Dr. Troop, do you have them handy? They're not in any paper that I have here. Sorry. Hold on. Oh, here we go. So for all our teachers, this was the first year of the implementation of the PEP that we were able to compare the results. Because as you recall, the PEP started in 2019. And right after that, COVID, we had to modify the exams. 2021, we were still in COVID, we had to modify the exams. 2022, we still had to modify the exams again. This is the first year that we could compare like for like or apples to apples. And as we did so, for I'm going to tell you, for mathematics, when we look at mathematics in 2019, the percentage of children who were in the proficient and highly proficient category was 41%. In 2023, that improved to 57%. For science, in 2019, we had 43% of the students in the proficient or highly proficient category. In 2023, that was 64%. Social studies, in 2019, 63% in the proficient or highly proficient category. In 2023, that moved to 67%. And for language arts, that was 55% in 2019 in the proficient or highly proficient category versus 60%. 55 then in 2019, 60% now in 2023. So yes, it's improvement. And you know, we have professionals who sit, who create and sit and grade these exams and so on. So it's a very rigorous process. And we should celebrate with our children when we have positive news, because a lot of times it's just the negative that we hear. So we need to really applaud and encourage them. We know that there's still a lot of work to be done. We're not saying everything is peachy, but we feel encouraged by the work that all of you are doing. And I'm going to stop there now because I know it's lunchtime, and move into question and answer briefly if there are questions. Go ahead. Who has the microphone?
Good afternoon, Minister and other members of the ministry. I have two questions, or I should say two issues. One, the first question is the laptops that are given to teachers. Is it a gift to them, or is it to do the work within the school system?
I'll ask Dr. Troop to speak to that.
Okay. So consistent with the correspondence that we sent out, the laptops are assigned. We are operating with a life of 5 years. So it is assigned to the teacher for 5 years. After that, it is our hope to replenish. If the teacher leaves the school before that 5 years, the teacher is to return the device. If the teacher is going to another school and you have the evidence of that through the offer letter and acceptance letter, you allow the teacher to transfer with the device. It is assigned to the teacher for the life of the device, but it is not a personal device. It is assigned for the work. This is unlike the tablets. The tablets, previously, that was given, that was personal. The laptops are assigned, and it is similar to other jurisdictions. If you look what happened in the Caribbean, it's the same thing. Devices are assigned for the work to be done.
Okay, thank you, Dr. True. My second issue I'm having, I am a newly installed board chair, served previously, and I'm back in the system. So the letter that we are supposed to get to take to the bank, to the banking institutions, I'm having a headache. I got my appointment letter in April. In May, the documents were sent off to the region, and in correspondence with the region, I'm told it at the Ministry of Finance. Now, I don't know how I'm going to deal with my auxiliary staff and my stakeholders, because no checks or salaries can be paid, because the previous chairman who assisted for a while, she's off the island, the vice chair, the signatories are both abroad. So there's nobody to sign any checks within the school. So basically the school is locked down. How do we deal with that? How long should the ministry, and my recommendation, everything in one, is could powers be given to the regional office that these little things be dealt with quickly, because we are talking about people's lives right here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that recommendation. I'm going to ask the senior officer to just take, can you just say the name of your institution? Okay, just put that down for Ms. Shelley. Rest, I'm going to make a call shortly and give you some feedback. But Minister has reviewed this process with us, and the truth is it should not take more than 10 days. But I admit it's not working. So I am going to check on that, because you're in a very difficult position and we cannot have the staff not paid. So let me try and see if I can expedite that. But the truth is you send through, it goes through our accounts department to Attorney General, and they authorize the changes and it comes back through to the region. It's not something that the region can do because of the government protocols in who can sign on the government accounts. But it can be expedited. It's not something that should take a very long time. What I see happening though, sometimes the forms are not completed properly, the recommendations are not according to the standards. So I am sometimes copied on corrections going back and forth until the corrected information is submitted. I'm not saying that is your case, but it can also be delayed by that. So I'm going to remind all of us to follow the protocols. We sent out a bulletin stipulating who can be signatories. Sometimes we see other persons coming, 2 internal, 2 external, 2 persons who are internal, A and B, and those things cannot work. So I'm going to remind us that we should pay attention to the bulletin for the guidance, but we are taking responsibility that we have more to do on the administrative.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Minister, it's very good to see you face to face and to have you here with us today. I am particularly concerned about something you said when you started your presentation to us, and it's about the early childhood sector and the assessment that has been done. Question, we have a proliferation, a great number of our early childhood infant departments, basic schools and so on, being run by private individuals, churches, social organizations, and so on. Question that I would like to have answered is whether this assessment was broad-based enough to capture everybody at that level. And a recommendation that I would like to make is that the licensing, the approval for the operation of the basic schools, particularly those who fall in this category that I'm referring to, be expedited, because you have to go through all the processes to have the institution registered. Health, fire, building, just about everything. And after all of this is done, it takes forever to get the approval to put the school on the legal footing. So we would like to have that looked at, because a lot of our children are coming from these institutions to the primary school. And trust me, my 2-year-old granny can do much better than some of these. So apart from the upgrading, the licensing process would help to improve the standards at that level. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the question, for the comments. I know that the Early Childhood Commission and the CEO, they've been very vigilant in terms of ensuring schools are registered. But again, the schools in general are not meeting the 12 standards that are there. And so that's what I said, when we look at what standards they're not meeting, one of them is having a trained practitioner in the school, and that is something that as government we will be looking at to see how we can help those schools to get up to standard.
Okay, good afternoon, Minister. Mark Poyle, Scotts Pass Primary and Infant School. And I have just a few things. Now, earlier, the media services reported that, and you also confirmed, that there will be no, I don't know if it was you who confirmed, but that there will be no integrated studies book for grades 1 to 3 coming out this year, and that you'll have the regular coming out for upper school 4 to 6, right? Now, as it pertains to that, these are workbooks, and if we would not have much of those in stock if we're given for the given cohort each year, the students would use those books up. Not being given any for an academic year puts us at a disadvantage. And bearing in mind, some of us operate in schools where parents do not purchase books, even the ones you do put on the list. We're also being advised by the ministry not to belabor or to burden the book list. And therefore, this now becomes a barrier to learning when the ministry does not provide these books that they usually provide to us in a given year. So I'm asking if that could be looked at and some redress be made where that is concerned. The other thing that I want to speak to, Minister...
You want Dr. Troop to answer that first? Yeah.
I was just going to ask both, and then you can maybe just...
All right, go ahead.
Right. The other thing I want to speak to is that I am a part of a group of principals. We have a WhatsApp group, and so what I'm addressing now is something that keeps coming up within the group. And I'm happy that I have the opportunity to address this to you, Minister, because this needs to be looked into urgently, because many of the smaller schools are suffering because of this new development that is happening, where grants are being paid late, consistently. At this point, we have schools like myself that I am operating on fumes, and cooks are to be paid and no grant came for them. All right? I am not sure how I'm going to be paying my cooks for their vacation, and also for a period of work that was done, because I have to start to be holding off a little bit. I have other persons that I have to pay and I have to be holding off because grants are not being paid on time. There is an organization called LEGS, and that organization provides my school with an intern that assists with safety and security, and also a clerical assistant, because we have no secretary, no support staff. Let me bear it down to you, to everybody here. At my school, I have no support staff. My janitor is a part-time janitor. I have no watchman, no gate attendant, nobody, right? So it means, therefore, that if I do not have a LEGS intern, a lot of the things that we would want to do within a school setting has to be pushed aside or is not done efficiently. Now, ever since I've been getting LEGS intern for the past 4 years I've been there, I have issues with payment. We have been put out many, many times. The redress for any of the situation over the past years. I've had a young man who was working prior to COVID hit, and when he was let go, he would have worked a couple of months, and no payment was made to him. And I communicated to LEGS, redress would be made, all of that, nothing to this date, all right? That's going back as far as that. Presently, we have not been paid for the LEGS, gotten the payment for the LEGS intern, not even for one of them now. for the past, in the last tranche. They were paid up to, I think, third tranche. No payment came in the fourth tranche. The first tranche for the new academic year is yet to be paid over, and that is late, right? And so we are in a financial situation, and many of the smaller schools that are here can attest to that. And Minister, we cannot allow these low-hanging fruits to just go unpicked, because otherwise transformation of education is going to be an uphill task if we cannot do these simple things right.
I'm going to ask Ms. Campbell to speak to the LEGS program. Ms. Campbell? Dr. Troop, I'll ask you to speak to the first question. And with regards to the grants and the late payments, you know, I can't tell you how many times we've gotten complaints about late payment, and we don't seem to be able to have progress in that area. It's not because we don't have budgets. The budgets are allocated. It's just the processing of it. So before I leave this conference, I will call the PS to find out exactly where we are with the grants for the school and come back to you with an answer.
Thank you, Minister, and good afternoon, colleagues. I'm happy to hear that the LEGS program is supporting the small schools, but I'm very distraught to hear that the payments are not going through. It is clearly a breakdown in our process flows, and I am committed, having heard you, and having heard the applause from other small schools here. It is noted, and I've asked the senior officers to take the names of the schools that are so affected so that we can do the relevant. No, I don't know. No, remember that I may not know which schools are affected. And so I need to know the names of the schools that are so affected. Pardon? So many schools are affected by the same problem? Oh, why? I am not aware. I can't speak to it because the program does not fall under HRM&A. And that is why I'm saying I will have to investigate. And I am committed to investigating this. The payment is done through a small unit within the ministry, within central ministry. What I gather is that you send your information to the regional offices, and the regional offices submit to this small unit. And they're apparently having a challenge in meeting the payment requests, right? So we are going to look into it. If it's a breakdown in process flow, we will address it. If it's a breakdown in staffing, we'll address it. I can't speak to what it is right now because I'm not too au fait with the process. But I will look into it. I'm committed to look into it to ensure that it is actioned. You were saying? Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Are you hearing me? You have your hand up? All right, okay. So thank you so much, colleagues, and I do feel your pain, and we take full responsibility. It's indefensible what we have caused you to be experiencing on the ground, and we rely so much on you. And we're going to take it for what it is. We have some inefficiencies on our side that we really have to address. There's no way going around it. I sincerely apologize, but just before, because yesterday we had a similar interface with Region 6, and just before coming down, I spoke to the accounts, the new head of our financial division, and I was advised that the commitment is now approved for the grants for the cooks to be paid out, and so the payment vouchers are being prepared. So you should see those coming into your accounts by Friday, because the commitment is now in hand, which means that the allocation from the Ministry of Finance is now available for disbursement. That's what it means when they communicate to us that the commitment is now available. So you should see that, but you should have seen that before. So there's no way going around what you're experiencing. But I can assure you that action is in motion with respect to the cooks. For the legs, I will have to do a check on that and update you further, because it's a similar process. But I would like to know first if the allocation is now available before I give you any definitive dates for the legs. But we commit to responding to that. I just want to take you back to the experience of COVID and why we had to take the decision this year to remove some of the books at the lower end and make sure that the upper end could be served until we are able to go back next year. So during to distribute the books to the students, so all the textbooks for the most part, most of you sent home to the children because they were not coming to school, and we wanted to ensure that work was being given to the students throughout the period and to engage our students. So most of our primary school principals and high school responded to that instruction. We have been told, and through the audit, that most of the students, if not all, did not return the textbooks. So normally we would be buying all workbooks and then topping up your textbooks. So this year, we had to procure all the textbooks because you did not get to take the books back from the students. We could not ask you to go to the parents' homes and to ask students to mandate them and to be in any conflict with them. So based on the information you fed to us, we took the decision to procure all the textbooks. Now the textbooks have a life of 3 to 5 years. So once we do that this year and replenish your stock, come next year we just be topping up where we have gaps. And then we will go back to focusing on your workbooks. You will notice that some of the workbooks we are still giving at the upper end as well. But because we have to go into full procurement for all those textbooks for your core subjects, it consumed most of the resources. Bearing in mind that we actually got an increase in the resources to make sure that we could still respond to the inflation rate and the new demands for those textbooks. So you have to bear with us. We had to take a decision. It's either we make sure that we restock, and that will give you a life of 5 years, and then in the next 5 years, we'll just be focusing on making sure that you have your workbooks at the lower end. We made sure to put the math book in because we know we have a numeracy issue. And we're going to make sure that the literacy program is refocused, so we're not neglecting those areas. We're going to refocus. We are going to be printing some additional materials for numeracy and literacy. We're going to be sending you some additional guidelines, and we're ensuring that you have access to the printed materials. You'll get a class set of materials that you can photocopy and so forth where you can, and things will be in the online space for access. I know not all students have the devices, but where you can facilitate that, we're asking you to work with us this year. Because it's just like us, when we have a budget in our personal lives, in our homes, we have to take some decisions. Some things we can do, and next time we can't do it. Like this year, my children wanted to travel. And I told them it's not a year for travel because the budget just cannot accommodate all 4 of us going at this time. So like that, we have to take decisions. We know that you needed your textbooks, your core text, based on the feedback. And so we decided to procure all of that. And as Minister indicated, we are actually spending $2 billion this year with your textbooks, for primary school and for the high school, and for the e-materials, those websites that you have access to. It's not free. So when we call out and say, get the students on, those are paid services. So we're asking you to utilize that. We also went into an MOU with Jam Copy, because you know about intellectual property. So to cover you, for photocopying at the schools because persons wanted to move to take legal actions against the education sector because they have copies of people copying books, full books, and selling it back in schools. Or you copy it and you experience to pay for it and so forth. It's actually illegal. So to cover you, what we did, we went into an arrangement with Jam Copy to permit you to photocopy in 10% of the material at any given time. You can't copy the entire book, but you can copy worksheets, you can copy a chapter and so forth. We have to be paying for that service so you are not in any legal problems with Jam Copy and intellectual property for people's materials that you're using, not understanding that you're incriminating yourselves. So that is something else we took on in the resource allocation for this year. So I'm asking for your understanding. I'm asking for you to explain in a similar way to our parents, but we will get back into the workbooks. But utilize the online materials I'm holding up in my hand. The QR codes, we are moving into technology. Sending these around to all of you. I want you to put them up in your classroom. Teachers, this will send you directly to all our online materials. Worksheets, your lessons, everything that you can think of. This will send you right there. Our students can scan it with their smartphones, their tablets, whatever they have. Your teachers can do it right away and they can access it. We have to use the technology as we move into the 21st century. So you'll be getting all of these. Some of them are already at the booth, and we're sending them around for you. Even in the summer school, we are moving with UNICEF to put them up in corner shops, where students can go to the shops, they will scan the barcodes, and they can read stories while they're in the shops, or they can go home with where we're moving. As we see, and we got this from a London organization. We have been researching and looking to how else can we support learning in our country. Learning is not just limited to the classroom. We see other countries putting these at bus stops. I mean, our bus stops are not necessarily the best right now, so we wouldn't go there. But we know we use the corner shops in our communities. And so we are going to be capitalizing and putting things out there where we can get in a natural habit of learning, lifelong learning, and self-directed learning. We have to move away from the ordinary way of doing things. So colleagues, that's a full explanation as to why we did what we did, but you will see us coming back with a full source of the workbooks next year, as you would have had your full course, tech core books for this year.
Any other questions?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Minister. Good afternoon, Dr. Troop. Colleagues, good afternoon. Beulah All-Age School. I wish to speak to surveying. I have been waiting for several months, almost a year, for a response from the ministry as it relates to them coming in to survey the school's property. Prior to that, a few months, we were trying as a school to get private surveyor to survey the land, but we were told that the policy would have changed and the ministry will not allow us to do that. The ministry will survey its own property. So I am awaiting that. Now, the alumni would have raised some funds, and that interest is somewhat waning because we have some money sitting in the school's account. Money still remains the same. And we want to be able to start something. We also have the ministry promising that whatever the alumni would have made from their fundraising, that they would have doubled. So we're awaiting that commitment as well. But what we have in the account from the alumni is enough to start something. Now, I say all of this because on the day when grade 5 had their pep performance task, fortunately, I was taking a teacher into Maypen Market to collect some materials for graduation gowns. Lo and behold, For those of you who know New Longville and you know the woods, lo and behold, is one of our little grade 5 boys, just little above me knee and me short. Is him that going through the woods, you know? All by himself. The woods is pure bush. It named woods because it's pure bush. Going home, we stopped. We questioned him. We called the teacher. He was not missed. Exam had ended. They were supposed to go back to their classes because we weren't dismissing early. And he took it upon himself to go home. Why? Because there's no security at the gate. Our legs worker, his contract ended in April. And to date, from the 4 persons in the watching service. But none of those individuals, based on the work that they also do the week and on weekends, can work the 8 to 4 shift. We must have someone at the gate based on the context, the structure, the makeup of our school. When all teachers are in classes and where the office is, nobody can see a child. If a child decides to go through the gate, and vice versa if somebody decide to come in. Year before last, our guidance counselor was followed from National Bank by 2 deportees and a bike. They rode behind her, came right on the compound in the parking lot and held her up at gunpoint. We must have someone at the gate now in light of the Daniel.
Can you come and explain what is happening with? Can you come and explain what is happening with the surveillance? You can just take the mic. What instruction was given? Why is it that the school is waiting so long?
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so the request for surveying of the school property was sent to technical services. So I'm awaiting a response from technical services.
How long ago was that, Mr. Isby?
I will have to check the record. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think it's sometime during this year.
This academic year?
Well, this calendar year.
Okay, just pause for me and just call Mr. Brown and then come back to give us an update.
Okay,
Something cannot go to Kingston for almost an entire year for feedback. This is unacceptable.
Okay, I will.
We cannot allow our principals to be going through all of this pain. It's too much. And I take the complaint about the security services. It's something that we really have started to examine in the ministry. It's not a one-off situation. All of you, if not most of you, have this situation because of how we started out. You can recall with me that the education institutions were designed to be community spaces. But things and time have changed. And so we have to change expeditiously. So it was, the schools were protected. They were safe spaces. But that is not happening now. And so you are at risk, our students are at risk, and we have a responsibility. So we are noting that. I heard you said you are 5. So you have 3 regular, 2 relief. Is that so? 3 regular watchmen, 2 relief. And you use all of them in the evening?
2 regular watchmen, one begin at 4 and would end at 10, and then the other one would pick up the other shift. On weekends, 3 relief watchmen.
Oh, so you have 2 regular, 3 relief?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so I note your challenge. You need a 3rd regular. So to take that morning shift. Okay, and I think most of you, we have done the audit, so you don't have to get too much excited now with the gaps. Shelley is right beside me. We have the audit, we have done the costing, and we are discussing it to see how we can. You'd know that because of the compensation review one, and also because of the landmark case with the security company, we were comparing to provide to minister whether is it that we employ a 3rd person or we allow you to recruit through a security company, which that gives you a little more leverage in terms of holding people accountable when things go missing. When you have your regular watchmen, sometimes it's a very soft spot. They go to sleep.
Became with his tape measure 3 years ago. And until now, we are without those closets. We have 7 closets for the girls. That is all they have to use. 2,186 students. In addition, we have only been furnished with 2 guidance counselors. Same issue, the additional guidance counselor as it relates to establishment. We applied for a bus driver 3 years ago. We bought the bus 2 years ago. We are still without bus driver being on the establishment amidst making representation for all.
Thank you so much, Principal. Central High. We know that your bathroom facility, the challenges would have intensified because you have transitioned. Remember, you were operating 2 schools. So the bathroom facilities were not designed in numbers to serve all 2,000 persons at the same time. So remember your context. Now you are shifting to whole day, so you have more persons in the space, so you have a greater demand on your bathroom facility. So we have some work to do on that part. That's a part of the challenge with de-shifting. Sometimes we focus on the thrust to get you classrooms. And recently, you know that several classrooms were erected at that institution to accommodate the de-shifting. We have to do other things hand in hand. So, Mr. Isby, please make note of this request and let us get some assessment done, because we have all the students now in the space at Central I as versus having 2 schools operating at different times, which increased the demand on your water closet. For your bus driver and your guidance counselor, I can update that we are advanced, Dan. We are very advanced with the guidance counselors. The audit was done, and the documents were submitted to the Organizational Development Unit, and it should be in finance by now for those posts to be created. So you should be hearing from us. We are hoping that you can get that information for the start of the school year. I will have to look back at your bus driver request, but if it is that, you can locate that. I just sent out a bulletin instructing the system how to apply for new posts. If you can locate that bulletin and make sure that I have all the documentations as outlined in that bulletin, we can get you that driver for the new school year. So please go to that bulletin for me, colleagues. Once you are entitled, based on your enrollment, etc., and your situation, just submit according to what I've outlined. If you don't make those submissions, we cannot move the process, because we have to take it to finance. In the past, we could say, go ahead, employer, we'll send you temporary funding. We are not able to do that anymore because we are using the technology, MyHR Plus, and it requires a post code. So we have to follow the post-establishment process. All right, so please go back to that bulletin and make your resubmission for me. We'll get you that person for September. You can quote me on that. I noticed you were recording me.
Great afternoon, everyone. Violet Thomas Thompson, Victoria Primary School, and the president for the Jamaica Association of Primary and Infant School Principals. Sorry, you beat me to the questions. I have them written right here. And not to rehash what he said, but just to add to it. Brilliant idea. One that can help our students to bolster what they have and to... We are the persons on the ground. We know what is happening. We're not saying we have all the solutions, but let us sit down so that we can flesh out some things. Because at the end of the day, we are in the system because we want to make it better. We are not separating ourselves from the Ministry of Education. It's a team, and we want to work together to make things better. For the guidance counselor, I am asking, I know that when we do the cluster-based guidance counselor was a step in the right direction, but we have to understand that there are some schools that do need a guidance counselor every single day. When a guidance counselor comes to a school with 250 students once per week, I am not sure if we are making any real changes with the children who really need to see a guidance counselor. So I'm asking, please, if we can look into that and make some changes as it relates to that.
Can you permit me to just respond as
Go
you
ahead.
because I don't want to lose my train of thought. As I indicated earlier, colleagues, I don't believe you are reading my bulletins. Because in addition to the cluster-based service, I instructed through a bulletin advising you that clinical services is available for students and teachers, paid for by the Ministry of Education by specialists. We have a list of psychologists, physiotherapists, psychotherapists in each region that we pay, fully paid service. So in the event that you think that the guidance counselor is not capable to carry on because this particular child needs more than that, we have indicated that you can reach out to your regions and apply for the clinical therapist. And teachers can also do that because we know teachers are working for us. They are there for you. They are there for your teachers and for your support staff. Please pay attention. The cluster base is also an additional support because your schools are very small. It's very difficult to outfit a school with 20 students, 15 students. When we try to merge the schools, the communities come down on us. If you close the school, you're going to kill our community because people identify with schools as a life, a living monument in their communities. And so economically, it's not the best thing for us to be running a school with 10 children, but we keep it going. We have a principal there that we are paying a full salary. Which relates to the compensation review. We're paying the teachers, we're paying the support staff, though it may be small, but it's 10 children, 15 children, 20 children. It's very hard for us to put another counselor there to sit for a full week when we can rotate the service in addition to providing you with the clinical service. It's going to cost us, colleagues. There's a bill. We have to pay the light, the water. We have to pay for the garbage collection. It's not just an ordinary operation as you see it there. It really is a full cost. So we have to share the services where we can. We have to. So I want you to understand what goes into operating 1,010 public schools with different contexts. We have to try to make the best decisions we can, but we layer support. What we want you to do is to access that support.
Dr. Troop, I thank you for that, and I'm sure persons are accessing. I'm saying that schools with over 250 students need a resident guidance counselor, and I understand that the budget, I understand all that, so I'm not misreading or I'm not ignoring, because I know persons who would have subscribed to that bulletin that was sent out, so I'm not disputing that. Summer school teachers who were not paid.
You know, I am happy to update you on this. We had over 8,000 teachers who worked with us through summer school. And I can tell you we have less than 200 teachers who are yet to get part of their pay. Less than 200. We have pulled down the data and we are comparing and we are getting back to those teachers, many of whom who say to you that they didn't see it, they are now understanding that it's in their salary. That thing on your pay slip, that's an extra pay. It's 10 and 7 and so based on the data that we have pulled together. And we are working that through. So we have done better than we thought with wrapping up this process. And that is why this year we're not moving in that direction. You would have seen from the bulletin that the Summer Academy is targeted and we are using the specialists in the ministry to operate. And those who are school-based literacy specialists who have been working with us in a special way, we have pulled them on board. It is not a broad brush thing because we have done poorly with managing this process and we won't be replicating it. So schools, you now have the opportunity to run your summer schools. That was sent out in the bulletin. We're only doing a targeted process and that will be handled by our coaches and our specialists for numeracy and literacy, and our school-based literacy specialists who have been working with us. That's the only way we're doing it this year, until we clear up those 200 persons that we need to finalize.
Thank you for that. And my final question, with this transformation of education, one of Patterson's recommendation is that we put more at the infant, the early childhood level. Maybe I missed that bulletin, but what is it that we do? What kind of support do we provide as the ministry for the schools with infant departments?
I'm not understanding the question because the infant departments are part of our public facility and we fund them in the same way we fund our primary school. So what is the question?
So from my school, operating since 2021, and I'm yet to get any grant to read the infant department. I'm not so sure what
Which school is this school under your supervision? Because the grant schedules come through the regions and they tell us how much money each school needs to get based on their enrollment. That's how the regions, the schools get their funding. We don't sit in Kingston and make the decision. Every quarter, by the time we are to send out the tranches, the documents come from the region to say, these are our schools, this is the enrollment, these are the grants that they need to get and how much. And we commit, we use that information to send to the Ministry of Finance for the funds to be released to the AG, so when we send it up, it can get into your accounts. Because the ministry doesn't keep money, we don't have our own monies, we have to request it. But we request it based on the information that comes to us. And we'll have to find out what is happening with your situation at your region.
Good afternoon. Question. My name is Carlene Miller-Thompson.
I'm being advised that your lunch is here. So I think we'll take your last question.
My name is Carlene Miller-Thompson, Wanstead Primary and Infant. I'm just asking that the process of the repair of the school at Wanstead Primary and Infant be expedited with immediate effect. Because when it rains, we run out of rubbish bins to catch water from leakage in the school. It is like a sieve.
Isby, is this school on your maintenance list for this year?
Yes, it is. And
Okay.
Mr. Isby is supposed to follow up with us. But I'm asking that this be expedited with immediate effect.
Mr. Isby, are you hearing? Expedited with immediate effect.
Yes. Also, another question here. My legs person also I did not receive a grant for. I heard about the cook because that was a sore concern. Because they came for their payment and I would have to pay them because, so now we are out of funds because I have paid them from what we have. So I'm waiting for this to be reimbursed so that the school can continue to do what it has to do.
Yes, you
to
should
make
see
sure
it.
that repairs and everything is ready for September.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us out. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'm being told by the moderator that there were 5 persons waiting. Can you agree with us to take the 5 and then that's it?
Yes. And
All right, because I know lunch is here.
Good afternoon, Dr. Troop and Minister and colleagues. I'm Junior Maraj, Chair of Ali Primary in Southern Veer. We have an issue there that we would not like to, a potential problem that we would not like to materialize. Where our school gate is and where our bus stop is, I dread that one day I might hear from my principal that one of our children has been hit down by a vehicle. So we have been making representation from 2015 to the parish council, to the NWA. I spoke personally with the then head of the Mapen branch of the NWA. We have spoken with all other stakeholders. The mayor is even my family.
And you're not getting anywhere.
We're not getting anywhere, Dr. Troop. We have the documentation. My principal has the documentation.
So is it that it's too close to the road?
Yes, when the taxis stop at the bus stop, they are sometimes let off in the road. And we have some ground aircraft traversing that area. So you know how that the potential of someone being hit down.
Yes.
And the bus stop needs to be removed. We need railings. We have been making representation from 2015. Dr. Troop, if you can, I don't know if the minister is hearing me, if she can make some intervention,
Yes,
call the
we are-
Honorable Warmington for me.
Yes, we are taking notes.
Yes, please. We would not, we don't want to hear.
That we have lost a student. It's not easy to go
Please,
through that
thank
at
you.
all. Thank you much for bringing that to our attention. Again, Mr. Isbe, please make note.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon,
Good
Dr. Troop.
afternoon. How
Long
are you,
time
sir?
No see. Doing well, Dr.
How is
Troop.
Alston doing?
Doing pretty well. We will do better with some support. And I'll just highlight the area, but we are doing pretty good with what we have.
Okay, good.
I just want to make mention of the sixth form pathway program. I'm sorry, the Honorable Minister is not in here.
She
I
just
noticed
apologized. Let me apologize. She steps out. We have a meeting now with the Jamaica Teachers Association. I am also on the agenda to present, but I told Minister to go ahead. I'll join her shortly.
Okay,
Go
well,
ahead.
I'm going to ask you to take this information to her because I would have wanted a one-on-one with her this afternoon. At this point, our enrollment at Alston High School is 70% boys to 30% girls.
Yes.
And many of them coming to us are at the beginning stage. And when we do our reading assessment, they are at below pre-primer or they are non-starters.
Yes.
As such, we have put in place our reading program. We have bought Jolly Phonics kits. We have done all of that. And we are working through our apps coaches and our literacy specialists.
Excellent.
However, we want to utilize the sixth form pathway program. So we have been working with our region through Mrs. Eileen Dawkins, doing a tremendous job along with Mrs. Gillespie Lewis, my TEO. They have been doing a tremendous job. They have attended several meetings with Heart Trust and NTA at our school in order to launch the sixth form pathway program and have a partnership with Heart, because these students, we're trying to push the reading, but at the same time we realize that they're skill oriented.
Yes.
And as such, you can't even push the science and all those subjects on them too much. But we realized through a career day program that when we had persons coming in from doing motor vehicle repairs and all, they showed a lot of interest. So we want to move in that area using the sixth form pathway program. And I can tell you, my staff is 100% behind me on that, and my regional representatives as well.
Yes.
However, the fact of the matter is our electrical, welding, and our building tech department, they are in need of urgent upgrade. That area is in need of upgrade in order for us to get that start in September. We want to start it in September, Dr. Troop. We really need to start it because a lot of our young men are out there rubbing their hand middle.
Yes.
And they are not attending school, and this is the way forward. So Heart is on board for level 1 and level 2 certification. So I need your support in that area so that we can get this start September.
How much is it that you need?
Well, I would suggest, from based on what I see, we would need at least $3 million, Dr. Troop, to get something going.
All
or
right.
more, depends.
Send through something for me. I can get you that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Troop.
All right. We have to help the boys. We have to help the boys.
One before you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erica Eubanks, principal of Garvey Maceo High School. I listened to the minister, and I must commend the region, powerful region, Region 7. But I'm just curious, when are we going to get a regional office? We are tired of where we are caught up. And I think the region deserves better. Some of my other colleagues have asked a question before.
Yes.
And then I hear you talking about money for this and money for that. I'm just asking. I'm not sure if we're going to get it in the regional director's speech when we have the launch and the digging of the earth to set up our region. We have land in Clarendon. Thank you.
Yes. Diane, can you help me here? I know we have been on the hunt for the land.
there's not much, because NET is managing this, and we don't have the NET lead here. But Erica and Region 6, just hold me to this. I need to provide you some updates on this one. We have been hunting. We have been in dialogue with the National Land Agency. You know, we started out with trying to get a space in the plaza, and that didn't work out. And so we have to go back to procuring the land and building. And I know our National Education Trust is leading this activity, but I really do not have the latest updates on that, because you're not the only region. We are also trying to solve Region 1. They don't have an office for themselves either. And I know Diane has been helping in trying to locate space in Kingston to put a proper office in place for Region 1. So Region 1 and Region 7, both regions we really need to attend to give you your home. But give me some time to get back, because I'm not 100% up to date on where NET is with respect to procuring the land and so forth. Darren, do you have any more update on that?
We have a meeting with UDC. I think it's next week, where we present our requirements.
Okay. So we are in the process, Erica, but you will need to get some more definitive updates and timelines. Bear with me on that one. Thank you very much, colleagues. And I will just use this opportunity to greet you, because I know you have a lot more after lunch and I will have to run. And in bringing this charge, I want to thank you, as Minister said, for all that you continue to do for our children of this country. We have been through a difficult experience. But I want to salute my primary school principals and chairmen at this point in time. Over the years, we have always heard our high schools complaining about the quality of the children that they receive. But coming out of a pandemic, and we have done a national assessment, we have seen movement in all 4 core areas. And I must salute the primary schools for the hard work. My high schools don't have to complain too much this year. And I can tell you that I'm not seeing many persons coming to the ministry crying for transfers and being all over the place in doubt, because you have done a marvelous job. And we don't say thanks often enough. And I want to register that before I go. Thank you for what you did in the school-based initiatives. We know we got a lot of queries and a lot of doubts, because many persons didn't trust the process, because learning takes time. Transformation takes time. But today, we can boast about your work coming out of our national assessment. All areas moved. When we looked at the pathways, majority of our students are on pathway 1. That's a massive accomplishment. I want to encourage you, please do not drop the ball. Let's continue to focus on teaching and learning. That's really what it is about. Let's continue to love our students. If we don't love them, we can't change them, because they know when we are genuine. They can feel it. And I'm going to reach out as well to our teachers. I know the retention strategy may not be easy on your side, because persons are moving. Persons are being attracted elsewhere, and that's okay. People want better for themselves. But I'm going to encourage you, what you can do on the ground is to exercise some more compassion and empathy for our teachers. They are going through a lot. They are persons like us. And sometimes we don't see them as that. We see them as the lead, the instructional expert, but we don't see the person. We don't see the challenges that they go through. And recently we did a survey through Dr. Gale, and we learned that most of our teachers are pouring from an empty cup, meaning they too are experiencing adverse child experiences that they are reliving. Many of them were abused. When you see them responding to the data, to the instrument, many of them are struggling in their own families. When I read the data, I really felt broken, because I'm saying, here we are demanding so much from our teachers, and not that we ought not to, because that's the job, but we have to feel with them. They are broken just like us. And I want to relay a personal experience. Recently, when I had to deal with the death of the 8-year-old at Brayton, you know about it, it has been in the media. I I was broken. I was brought back to a time that I thought I was over. During a particular time in my life, I was in a community and I was beside a little girl. My cousin, she was 13 at the time. And there was a drive-by shooting. And we ran in 2 different directions for our lives. When it subsided, she died. She was shot in the head. I couldn't cope. It was difficult for me. I cried for days. I had to give up my job at the time for my own safety. And for every time I hear of an incident of this nature, I break. Sometimes I just bawl out in the house and my husband is like, what happened? And I say, don't hear the drive-by shooting in this community. And it brings me back. And I'm saying, if I am going through this, because I was angry, I was upset, I bargained with God. I asked him to take her back. It's a cousin I loved dearly. And what hurt me, colleagues, she descended the steps with me that day, asking me to take her home with me. My husband was on his way for me. He almost got caught up in the drive-by. And she came down to beg me to take her home with me. And she died. That was hard for me. Still hard for me. When I learned of the Brayton case, I went back to it. And I said to myself, when I looked at the data coming from our teachers, many of your teachers are going through these things. As a regional director, I send out the notifications for retirement. I sign them. Many of your teachers come back to me. You know what they tell me? I am begging you a year. I am not ready. I have a mentally ill son. I have to take care of him. My children are still in university. And sometimes they use the parlance. Them worthless, them not do nothing. Them still on me. I don't have any support. My husband gone. They are real people going through real experiences of life. Don't just see them as a teacher who needs to work. See the human factor. Lead with some compassion. Lead with some empathy. Because this is a people science and we need our teachers. So whatever you can do to make it a little lighter on them, put that as a part of your back to school plan. Put it in your orientation. Let them laugh a little bit. Pause a little bit. Celebrate a little bit. Reassure them, affirm them. They need you, and you are the leaders. And so I'm calling upon you to put that in your plan. We are all going through things. You are going through things. It's not easy. But I want to leave that with you because of what I've seen in the data that came to me. Many of our teachers, and you know how the teaching profession is. You have a family of 5, and maybe the last one who not so bright is the one they push into teaching. We know it starts. Some persons, when they are bright, when your own children are bright and they say they want to be teachers, they say they don't have the ambition. We know the stories. So sometimes we're not starting out with the best. So I want you to bear that in mind as part of a retention plan. Lead with some compassion. Lead with some empathy. And I take the instructions to myself as we try to improve on our side. We need to enable you to do better. And I'm giving my commitment to that as we restructure in the ministry to get you your grants on time, to get you your resources, to support you when you call us, to fix our schools. We have a lot to do to make your load a little lighter. And we're taking that on too as part of our charge to our own selves. So colleagues, thank you very much. Continue the good work. We rely on you. Jamaica relies on you. God bless you.
Father, we thank you for the meal that you have provided. Bless it to our bodies even now, in Jesus' name.
And while we're having lunch, we're going to be entertained by Central High Jamaica Moves.
Ladies and gentlemen, Central High Principal is making us known that this is a 2023 Dancing Dynamite group, and they need to get their perks. So while you eat, let us celebrate them and applaud our young people who have been doing very well on the global stage.
we got some information on some schools. My team and I went through the process of elimination, and we came to the decision to award Cumberland Primary and Infant with 20 gallons of paints. So on behalf of Sherwin-Williams, we want to extend thanks to you and your organization, your school, for molding the young minds. So we want to thank you for that, and I hope this will go a far way. All right?
Thank you so much, and may the Lord continue to bless you richly. God bless.
Maybe next year, let's see what next year will bring, all right? Okay. Also, we want to present some paints to a teacher from Ali Primary. Lisa Douglas. Is Lisa Douglas here? We understand that Lisa, can I call you Lisa? Is that okay? Okay. So I understand that Lisa has always gone above and beyond in every single thing that she does as it relates to Ali Primary. So we want to present you with 10 gallons of paints. You're welcome. Okay, so this was not planned, but based on the performances from we have decided to present with 5 gallons of paint. So we want to thank Veer Technical for providing such spirited, full of vibes type of entertainment today. So 5 gallons of paints to Veer Technical from Sherwin-Williams. You're welcome. So let me repeat that we have 23 locations all over the island. We also provide technical service to the school, so you can call us whenever you have your project doing. You can always call, provide.
Principals, we have to support those who support us, and clearly Sherwin-Williams is committed to education. Thank you so much for giving out those special awards. Okay. All right. So while you are finishing up lunch, some persons have already completed having your lunch. From Central High School, give them a round of applause. Dynamite team, Dancing Dynamite team. And I have seen them perform before. They are very good. I can't do those dance moves, but that is why they are here to do it for you. Give them a round of applause as they are going to share with us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we want to acknowledge the Dancing Dynamite winners for this year, 2023. If you look at your programs, you'll recognize that they are down under the heading Jamaica Moves. So at this time, I want to encourage you, based on the fact that we've had a long morning. If you're able to move, please do so with our young ladies. Put your hands together again for them. Go right ahead, Mr. DJ. So, gonna invite those individuals who can stand at this time. Please raise up from your seats. Or maybe not just yet.
She love me, they all love it. Sensima, why they for her, Benzima? Why you want $1 Sensima? This kind dance, you the dance, I'm doing this thing, you doing the dance. Why you wanna do me long thing? She open us so you, why they do me something? Why they do me long thing? She open us so you, why they do me something? Oh, collect, oh, wale, oh, one it. Body too correct. Oh no, Eddie man don't forget. Only go oh collect. Oh wale, oh one it. Body too correct. Say she love me, they all love it. Sensima, why they for her? Benzima, why you want $1 Sensima? This kind dance, you the dance, I'm doing the singing, you doing the dancing. Benzima, why they for her? Benzima, why you want $1 Sensima? This kind dance, you the dance, I'm doing the singing, you doing the dancing. Benzima, baby, shaman, I'm a kato. Down, the back when I love me, can know. And you go to body, go ya to body, funda di yo. Oh baby, to body, go ya to body, funda di yo. Yo, learn meta, sama ya learn meta. Poko, sama wa learn meta. Poko, sasa ko learn meta. Learn meta, sama ya learn meta. Poko, dai mama learn meta. If oh collect, oh wale, oh one, makam body too correct. Oh no, Eddie man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who can move from your seats, just stand for me. We're going to do this together. It's Jamaica Moves. On your feet. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Shake out the lunch and the long morning. Just jump up for us.
Definitely. It's time to work up those bodies.
Come on, young girls.
And the Dynamites are here to show us how to love your
All
body
right.
and treat your body right. Thank you so much.
Love your body, treat your body right. Thank you, Mrs. Russell. Are we ready?
One, two, three.
All right, thank you those who are joining us. The rest, come on.
30 minutes activity daily. Love your body, treat your body right.
All right,
Vegetables,
let's catch up.
make sure you eat plenty. Children do 60 minutes activity daily. Drink some water when you feel thirsty. Cut down dessert and have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time.
Pull
All right,
up.
girls, come on. Take it easy with us.
Let's go again. That was warm up, That was warm up, so we'll go again.
So take your time with the old people like myself. All right? Let's go again.
3, 2 more. 1, 2. Adults to 30 minutes activity daily. Love your body, treat your body right. Vegetables, make sure you eat plenty. Children do 60 minutes activity daily. Drink some water when you feel thirsty. Cut down dessert and have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time.
Indeed, love your body, treat your body right. So we're getting this Jackie, we're only getting a part of the song.
1, 2. I does the 30 minutes activity daily. Love your body, treat your body right.
Yes, Miss Richard.
Vegetables,
Show
make
them
sure
how
you
to do
eat
it the
veggie.
principal way.
60 minutes
Can we see a
activity
chairman
daily.
show us how to do
Still
it
want
the
more,
chairman
not
way?
you. See the people them stand up, man. Come on, girls. Have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time.
All right. I see some people working out and some persons fanning a lot.
30 minutes
That's the
activity
working out.
daily. Love your body, treat your body right. Vegetables, make sure you eat plenty. Children do 60 minutes activity daily. Drink some water when you feel thirsty. Cut down dessert and have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time. 1, 2.
Put your hands together for them, man. Put your hands together for them. And put your hands together for yourself. Love your body, treat it. Tell your neighbor, love your body and treat your body right. I hope you enjoy lunch, and let me apologize to you. Lunch was late, but guess what? I hope that you had all your vegetables and your proteins, and of course, the carbohydrate, because we want to love our bodies and treat our bodies right. We're winding down nicely, ladies and gentlemen. And so we are still transforming educators, and we couldn't do today without our exhibitors and our key partners. And a little while I'm going to ask them to come, as I'll be sharing with you some of our key partners and exhibitors with us this afternoon. We have the National Commercial Bank. We have Sharon Williams, and you have just heard from them. We have JTA Cooperative Credit Union. We have the Tip Friendly Society. We also have the Book Merchant. We also have Book Zone Limited. We have math and the happening in that department. We have Alana's Institute. It's a private partners on the 6th Form Pathway Program, and they're doing free pressure checks. So you don't have to leave here today without getting your blood pressure checks done. We also have the Girls Brigade. And I hope that you get some time to go to these exhibitors and get some more information, as they will be coming to give us 2 minutes or less on what they offer. We also have the work experience team, and we have our regional president here and also our national president from Central High School, Miss Selvin Peart. And she's stepping up into the video light. Put your hands together for her. And we also have the Jamaica Combined Cadet Force. So she'll be coming first, and then I'll be taking 2 minutes from the different exhibitors to come and tell us a little bit about what you offer.
Moderators, Miss Bathsheba Shaw and Mrs. Christine Russell-Lewin. Mr. Barrington Richardson, Regional Director, and other distinguished guests at the platform and in the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, principals, everyone, good afternoon. Now, work experience has been a part of our curriculum here in Jamaica for a number of years. But we must admit that it has not been given the kind of attention and devotion that we're really interested in seeing. For those of us who may not know about the program, the work experience program exists in the secondary schools, predominantly non-traditional high schools and technical schools. And yes, that sounds the alarm that we are really focusing on skills. And in today's society, when we are embracing entrepreneurship, and doing it our way and creating ideas in our society to survive, it tells me that work experience is of absolute importance. Our students are sent out to accomplish 80 hours in the actual industry setting that depends on the child's vocational option. So, for example, we are looking at cosmetology, automotive technology, electrical, and so on. I want us to understand that 80 hours on an application form, it transforms into a job placement. I want us to also understand that work experience has been transforming lives across the island because statistics have shown that quite a number of our students have gained permanent employment from the business place, the organization that they did work experience in. And I believe that that deserves a round of applause. It says to me that our principals need to acknowledge the importance of the work experience coordinator and the job and role they perform within the school setting. I must take this opportunity to say thank you to Mr. Stelevich Ingram, my principal, Central High School, who is an absolutely outstanding leader when it comes on to supporting all programs, but work experience. Come on, I hear the yes. Thank you. But especially work experience. I remember the first time we spoke, he said to me, give me some stats in terms of how well you are affecting lives. And that tells me he understands the role. There are a number of principals who have been doing well, but to be honest, from the National Association standpoints and some of the complaints that we get across the island, there are a number of principals who have not yet bought into the importance of work experience. I want to say to you, hold your work experience coordinator accountable, but support them. Allow them to function because it is a part of the curriculum. Work experience is not an extracurricular activity. And I need for us to understand that though it is that our focus is on achieving our CXC and or various examinations at the highest level, we want those to transition into an actual life course. And that is what work experience does. It is the link between the world and what happens on a daily basis in our schools. I was told I have only 2 minutes, and I know I've gone already. But I want to say to every single one of you, if you are not aware of the impact and how important it is that work experience flourishes, I'm going to ask you after today, and I'm speaking specifically to the principals who may not really connect and, as I said, buy into the program. Please give it some thought. Understand and appreciate that this is a program that must coexist. Not sometime in the summer or sometime in the Christmas or any other time, but it must coexist with the curriculum so that your students, your parents, and the community understands the place that work experience has in our society today, and it is certainly moving and blossoming. So we don't want to be left behind in the education system. We don't want it to be left on our students to go and find their work experience, because the program is so structured that when you talk about safety and all of these things that we as teachers, coordinators go out and ensure, we don't want to leave our children to go do community service on the side and call it work experience. So I really just want to bring to fore the importance, and the National Association of Work Experience was recently launched, and it is because of our dedication to the process and towards work experience. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Madam, for all of that information in relation to work experience. So we're going to quickly invite the representative from the National Commercial Bank to come if somebody's coming to speak, followed by JTA Cooperative Credit Union. Do we have somebody coming to share? No? All right, we'll continue. Tip, okay, she's coming. Put your hand together for her.
Good afternoon, educators. My name is Sandries Hughes, and I represent the National Commercial Bank. The National Commercial Bank, or financial group, we offer a wide array of services for you. So along with your loans, your credit cards, and your investment products, we also offer insurance products as well. Our insurance products are powered by Guardian Life Limited. So while you preserve your savings, your investments through your banking accounts, we can also help you to preserve that saving by transferring the risk of insurance business to us as well. So we have two loans officers, myself an insurance advisor. Feel free to come over and speak to us. We can help you to put your best life forward. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have Jamaica Teachers, JTA coming. Put your hands together for Jamaica Teachers Cooperative Credit Union. It's what kind of fenke clap that the food didn't go into your hands. Come on, man. Lovely.
Members from the ministry, principals, teachers, good afternoon. I'm Rowan McFarlane from the JTA Co-op Credit Union. We are here today representing, well, with me today is Miss Hales from we have a team here today. With me is Miss Hales, regional officer for Manchester, and her team, and I have joined them. Now, the JTA Credit Union has been around for over 60 years, and we offer a wide range of services. Our motto is serving our members, impacting lives positively. From the credit union, as your financial partner, you can achieve all the goals, financial goals you want to achieve. We offer savings, investments, and of course loans, and we offer also insurance to cover not only yourself but also your relatives and your children and your relatives and your children. We are our focus is here. We're looking at back to school, so our focus is all the things that you want to do. And as you realize, we're over on the left. We're adding color to Berger, right? And we will, when you visit all our locations, we are 12 locations island-wide, including Maypen and Mandeville. As I said, our focus is about your back to school and your home improvement, your travel expenses, all these things that you can achieve, that you might want to do over the course of the summer. The credit union recently had its annual general meeting where dividend was declared, and you can always access your dividend whether online or at the various branches. All right. Sorry, I'm having a challenge in my throat. You're invited to visit the branch. Thank you.
Will somebody just get some water for sir? Thank you so much, JTA Cooperative Credit Union. It's good to have with us Mrs. Gordon from the Jamaica Teaching Council in our midst today, and we're going to invite her to sit with our director on the platform in short order, as we'll be hearing from the Tip Friendly Society.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leon Barnaby, Business Development Officer for the parish of Clarendon, Manchester, and recently part of Chillarney. With me, I have Mr. Grinley, Brand Supervisor. We have two lovely gift baskets here today for anybody who open a tip lock and key with us today. All right? All right, so the lock and key is a investment starting at a minimum of $10,000 monthly. You can lock away the funds from 2 years to 5 years. If you lock it away up to 5 years, you get 6.5% each year. All right, and for 2 years, which is the minimum, 5% each year. All right. Also, remember we have the scholarship going on. The deadline for application is July 31st, so undergrad scholarship for members. Also, we do have the insurance. We have a little sweetener to the insurance where we now have paternity benefit on the insurance. And for the male, the good thing about it is that you don't have to, it's just, you don't have to, there's no DNA required. All right. Yes, so there's no DNA required. And also just a reminder that for the insurance for the females, they always want to add 2 spouses to the insurance, and it's only 1 spouse that can add to the insurance. Bear that in mind, all right? Right. Also remember that we have loans. We have the summer loan going on now for 14%. And it's very easy to access. All right. And also, principal, remember we have the school insurance where you can insure every student at the school and admin staff, auxiliary worker for a minimum of $325 for the entire year. All right. And also remember you get back a percentage on it. All right. So any more question, you can find me right over there. That's it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Barnaby, and I hope somebody will win that basket. So go on over and know about lock and key. Book merchant coming up. All right. Do we have any other offer exhibitors coming on stage to tell us about their programs or what they have to offer? Oh, Alana's coming. Put your hands together for Alana's Institute.
Protocol observed. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shanice Llewellyn White, and I am a proud student of the Alanas Institute. It is located at 47A Manchester Avenue, adjacent to the new KFC at the supply. That's in Maypen. At Alanas Institute is a registered entity with the Ministry. We are also a partner of the sixth form pathway program. At Alanas, we offer a wide range of programs, such as NCT VET courses, CXCs, and City and Guilds Math and English. NCT VET courses include Allied Health Levels 1 and 2, Geriatric Nursing Level 3, which I myself, Nicola Smith, are currently enrolled. We have Business Administration Level 2, Business Management Level 3, Early Childhood Levels 2 and 3, Community Health Aid, and Basic Life Support Training. We also do housekeeping in Levels 2. Now, a little testimony from myself. So last year, my son completed his 5 years of secondary education. However, he was not successful in all his CXCs. I was introduced to the Alanas Institute, where he was enrolled to do a skill along with additional subjects. For this, I paid no additional fees. And this has helped a lot of parents, including myself, in regards to financing the additional 2 years of secondary education mandated by the Ministry of Education. I am grateful for this institution, and I am positive that after his 2 years of the sixth form pathway program, he can transition to his career of choice. Before you leave, please visit our booth and collect some of our flyers to give out. Please tell a parent and tell a friend about the Alana's Institute Sixth Form Pathway Program. We are also doing free blood pressure checks. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right, me know the rice make you heavy, but good afternoon, everybody. Oh my gosh. So this morning we came in very early and we hid something on the seat. Look, the man, there's a prize. Under the seat, if you look under the seat, you're not seeing it? If you look under the seat, what? I had to get them moving. What? Sorry. Yeah, look for the thing. All right. So you'll notice that the chair is perfectly fine. Congratulations. So my name is Stuart. I'm Stuart Dawkins from the Book Zone Limited. And it is certainly my pleasure. Hello, my friend. It is certainly my pleasure to be a part of this Principals Conference and at the Book Zone, because I only have 2 minutes to let you know. At Book Zone, we are the island's leading distributor of educational text. So we'll have reps that visit the schools here in Clarendon, in Mandeville, all over the island. We have reps that will visit your school, including myself, and leave samples with you. Now, we normally do this because we want to make sure that your teachers are equipped with the resources they need to carry out their job function. So today, the minister mentioned that you will be getting certain resources, yeah? And so, of course, we partner with ministry on that. We want to make sure that they're also delivered to your schools. Please ensure that when the delivery trucks come and the books are delivered, you stamp those delivery slips, okay? Sign and stamp it. Now, just to make mention, there are just a few titles I brought with me. And some of you would be very familiar with these books. The Pep for Winners. Unfortunately, this year you won't be getting Pep for Winners. So you'll have to add them to your book list if you have not already done that. There is also the Perfect Pass series, getting a lot of good reception from this one. It goes from grades 4 and grade 5. We realize the teachers absolutely love grade 4 because it has language and math in one book. So parents buy a book one time, right? As well as another one called the Nutcracker series, as it suggests a series of abilities and performance tasks. Now, here's another secret. Who want to get rich? This is not a trick anymore. Who want to get rich? Yeah, man, so you can come out of the teaching business. You know want to get rich? Eh? Yeah, man, I may not have a lot of numbers to give you a hush, but we are always on the hunt to find those educators who are so experienced and understand curriculum writing. We're always looking for those persons who you are interested in writing text resources. Call us. We want to work with you. So we do publishing. And right now we are actually working with a group of teachers in Kingston, and they're writing an integrated series for infant, and it is doing very well based on reviews so far. So if you and or your colleague, hello, this talking group here, so fingers on your lips. Thank you, Barbara. Winston, boy, come, watch your cha-cha, boy. Eh? Watch your eyeglass. You don't know, so we're inside now, take off your glasses. All right, so if you are interested in writing and or you know somebody that is interested in writing educational resources, feel free to visit us. I'm at the back. Come and get my card so that we can continue this conversation. And I won't take up any more time. I just want to thank you, and also to the ministry, thank you for inviting us. And we look forward to the future in partnering with you very soon. All the best. Clap me now, clap me now. Thank you. You guys are too much. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, principals and board chairpersons. Let me first acknowledge Mr. Richard. Good. And your... Okay, my name is Devon Headley, and I represent Jolly Phonics. Yes. I know Region 7 have well, I've not been there for a while because I'm spread very thin right across the other 6 regions. But I want to really talk to you for 2 minutes looking at literacy. Looking at the grade 4, 5, and 6 curriculum teachers, principals, I've been paying a lot of attention to the grade 4, 5, and 6 curriculum. And just by looking at the curriculum, I've made a decision that if the children cannot read, they will have limited or no access to the grade 4, 5, and 6 curriculum. Do you agree with me? When you look at your curriculum-based items, when you look at your performance task items, when you look at your ability test items, if they cannot read, they will not have access to that grade 4, 5, and 6 curriculum. So I'm saying this to say that when we are talking to the parents now from your infant department right through to your grade 1, 2, 3, 4, we have to let the parents understand that their contribution, their role is very important now, because reading, literacy is very important. And so Jollyphonics is globally, and I will tell you without apology, Jollyphonics globally is the strongest literacy program out there. It is so strong that if you check in Iran, they are using it in Iran, Japan, China, so many countries to teach the children English as a second language because of the strength of Jollyphonics. I will say that all regions, many schools were introduced to Jollyphonics through the New Horizon Project, the Extended Horizon Project, the USAID project, the Judicial Enrichment Project, the Sanders Foundation Project. There are so many projects introduced that they were introduced to Jollyphonics through. And when I go to many schools, Jollyphonics is in a corner. They have pieces here, pieces there. I will tell you something. If you were to check your top performing schools right across Jamaica, we look at their literacy foundation, it is Jollyphonics. And many of them have been using it for 20 years now. Your neighbor Kensington Primary has never ever dropped Jollyphonics, because the program is designed with all the attacking skills for both the boys and girls. The program is designed with differentiated approach, so they learn all their 44 sounds in a systematic way. They learn to move from phonemes to graphemes. They learn how to spell, blend, and how to spell, read, and write. So the program attacks all the different literacy skills from very early right up to grade 6. And so I'm challenging you, principal, as the literacy leaders in your school, to really revisit the program. I'm available for training and workshops. On the ministry supplementary list, you might see where you have the Jollyphonics book on the list. Don't just put the book on your book list like that, because the book is useless without the lesson plan aspect of it. There's a teacher lesson plan book with all your strategies and activities for you to use for the entire year, whether they are grade 1, 2, or 3, infant department. And so teachers, when a high school called me to come and do a workshop, many times I delayed because it is difficult to be working with students who have high interest level but low reader level. And so if we can catch them at the earliest point, they won't reach to a grade 7, 8, and 9 and not reading. Mr. Sinclair spoke a while ago. I did a workshop at his school. And when we look at the IDRI for those grade 7 students, you wonder if they were absent from school for the entire 6 or 5 years. And so infant school department, primary department, let us try to work with them very early. When you're doing your SIP, don't just do a SIP for literacy in your SIP just for the sake of it. Look at a deliberate strategy, a deliberate program like Jollyphonics to address your literacy. So you can come to the booth with the the ministry literacy team, literacy and numeracy team, you can come. I give you your number, and we can arrange workshop and so forth, so on. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all our exhibitors who would have shared with us. All right, so we are now at a point in the program where we are going to hear from our regional director, Mr. Barrington Richardson. I hear, woo, somebody sounds excited. And he's going to come and share with us, and I'm sure whatever information he is going to provide to you will be well needed as well as insightful. So at this time, please make a round of applause for our regional director.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shaw. Let me say a great afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon. Or should I say great afternoon. I am so delighted to have the opportunity to physically join in this our Back to School Conference 2023. I am thankful that I am alive because it could have been otherwise. Yes, Sir Harris, I see you looking intently. Yes, I see you looking. But nevertheless, we are here together once again. It has been a while that we have met together, fully face-to-face. I recall 2021, we were fully virtual. 2022, we did a hybrid conference. And this year, 2023, we are fully together physically. And for that, we can say thanks be to, yes, indeed. I know we are hot, and so I will not attempt to do the full presentation, but I will prefer to have a conversation on some critical items as a region so that we can reflect and agree on the approach as to how we will collectively address them so that we can get the desired results. But let me use the opportunity to acknowledge our minister and Dr. Troop in their absence. They are somewhere on campus engaged in a meeting. And I also want to use the opportunity to welcome and to acknowledge Dr. Winsome Gordon, the Executive Director of the Jamaica Teaching Council. Can we please give it up for her? Stand, Dr. Gordon, and be acknowledged. We really appreciate your presence and your participation. I was surprised when I looked down and saw you. I spoke to you when I was in Spanish Town. As I left the doctor's office, and I said to myself, I have to be here even though I am watching online. Yes, yes, indeed, and we are so grateful. Thank you, Doc, for making the effort to be here. I mentioned the doctor's office. You can see something right here. I did a minor medical procedure on Monday, and I thought I would miss back to school conference to see our new board chairs and those who have returned. Oh man, what percentage? 95% of the 34 projects are completed. And all the money done. All the money done. With the exception of those who are to be paid, actually, and to really And we stretch it, we stretch it, we stretch it, we stretch it. The school columns and the light posts are dropped down. Mr. Ibi said, all right, get an estimate, and we agree, and we send, and we pay for that. Electrical wire dropping down, and we try as much as possible to stretch the 30 million. So 29 schools this year benefited from the critical repairs across the region. For 2023, 2024, we have 13 schools. You might wonder why 13 schools, Miss Rest? Because like a Rest Primary, your work is great. And so is more money to be given to one school. And so we are trying to treat with those major projects this year. And so we have 13 schools to benefit with an additional 10 schools, right? An additional 10 schools and counting, which we are waiting for approval. We have a budget of 100 million that we are hoping that it will be approved and supported. We can't say to you at this point, it is you at Scott's Pass, or it is you over Central for the bathrooms. I hear like something happening for you, Central, so I'm not going to count you in this. Or it is you over Claude McKay. I heard that you have a visit about that building, so you seem like something happening for you. And I can't say at this time, Kellitz. Good to see you, hardworking exam coordinator. It is, I can't say. What we can say to you is that the schools for the 30 million, it has been approved. So the 13 schools, 13 schools for the 30 million has been approved, and we will meet with you sometime next week to advise you exactly what the scope of work will be, and we will formally give you a letter so you can have it on file to hold us accountable. So we will advise those 13 schools that have been approved to date. All right, so Chairman of Rest, I would love to have a talk with you before you leave today. There's something very, very, very important. Sir, you can take your leave, sir. Thank you so much, Sir Isby. 8 schools have been approved for perimeter fencing, and those schools already know themselves, and these are predominantly primary schools. Let me share with you Brixton Hill, Salt Savannah, Rock River, Saguinetti, Mapen Infant, Wanstead Primary, Stacyville. Those schools have been approved to receive perimeter fencing. That is phase 1. And so we are looking forward, Ms. Richards, Donna Holly, to see what the other schools will look like. I know Scott's Pass will definitely be in that phase. Right. 3 schools were approved for electrical upgrading. Let me see if I can find those 3 schools. Alston High, Lennon High, and Edwin Allen. All right, these schools are expanding or have expanded, and they can no longer carry what they have. Now, there are some new initiatives that we will launch in the new academic year. We have just commenced the new board cycle, and we will be having our board reception, our school board reception. This is where we will have various agencies and representatives of the ministry to have interface with our board chairs. This will happen July ending. Our minister will be present. She already gave her commitment. The NCE executive. We also will be inviting JTC and other stakeholders to have in the 21st century. This is a very important activity for us as a region. We know how important it is when we get governance right, everything else will fall in place. And so that board reception will take place at the end of this month, and you will receive the notification in time. We also will be launching our board fora. This is where we will be having selected schools participating in this board fora to troubleshoot real issues that are happening in the schools as relates to technical issues that usually find itself at JTA. We don't want our matters to be escalated beyond the region before we intervene. We want to ensure that locally we provide you with the technical support, the technical guidance, and so we have a team of persons who are ready to facilitate those small group. So once we hear of an issue over Edwin Allen, and it is common to Glenmuir High, we pull those teams together, we sit down, look at the scenarios, troubleshoot solutions, and the board